We're halfway through Fantasy Movie Month here on Winter Wolf's Den, and we're going to do one here that I think you guys are going to enjoy. We're going to go all Expelliarmus next. Hey guys, welcome back to Winter Wolf's Den. Winter Wolf here as your headmaster of Hogwarts Academy. Kingsley over there. I don't know, Kingsley's probably not Snape. I don't know. I should have thought that through a little bit better. Dude, what's going on? We're doing Harry Potter. I'm kind of stoked because I think we've really picked a good one. Again, this is back-to-back good picks for Fantasy Month. I'm digging this more than Horror Month, actually. I think this is a better selection of movies overall. They gotta be.
And I think we're hitting one of the hard franchises with this one because it goes through, it's so embedded in today's pop culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, this is a more modern of all of them. So I think this is going to be really, really good.
I agree. I think this is as close to modern fantasy that exists, that kind of captures the last two generations in the way that Star Trek and Star Wars got us. This is 100%. If you're a millennial, this is you. This is your Star Wars,
franchise.
100%.
Yeah,
this is you. And we're talking 8 or 9 movies because they split that last book, so 8 books, 9 movies, the 3 Fantastic Beasts movies. We just had Hogwarts Legacy that's up for Game of the Year this year. So this is very much, even though these movies are now 20-some years old now. I mean, they go about 10, 15, maybe 10 years, 10, 15 years. It's very much current day still. It's still in.
You have 8 movies of the primary story, and then you have 3 movies of the pre-story that wasn't based off the books as well. I mean, this is a huge franchise at this point. And they're talking about doing the, another book has come out, which is the 8th book. It was like the Dead Child or something like that.
The Cursed Child. That was actually, that's an adaptation of a stage play that she helped co-write, I think, J.K. Rowling. Okay, so it's not connected to the... I mean, it's connected to it, but it doesn't star, if I remember right, the main cast of characters. But yeah, that's another one. It's another great example.
And they have another one that's supposed to be coming out that takes up with Harry's kids.
Yes, I heard about that. And of course, don't forget, because we're covering this next month, I think, right? The series. There's a series coming through, guys. Isn't that next month? Isn't that December?
They're filming still. It's just been announced.
Oh, my bad. I thought that was our December.
Next month,
my bad, guys.
Yeah, next month is a different series that we're covering of a different book series.
Oh, that's right. That's
a personal favorite of my own.
Yes. So. I need to accelerate my reading of that. So we're gonna hold off a little bit on the Harry Potter series. We're gonna talk Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone tonight. In particular, I think.
Philosopher's Stone.
I was just gonna add that. Philosopher's Stone, if you live elsewhere, not, stateside, which is, whatever you want to call it, you go ahead and call it. Before we get into the meta, tell me a little bit about your relationship with the franchise. Did you pick this up as a young adult, or is this something you'll get into later? Where is this on your timeline for you?
So the first book came out in 1997, I believe. First book? Let's pull that up real quick. Yeah, 1997 in England.
Yeah.
And then it was released in the United States a year and 3 months later in 1998. So it was the book series was actually released in England before it ever came to the United States. I never actually picked up one of these books. I got into the movies with my current wife. She wanted to watch them all because I've never seen them. So I saw like 1 or 2 here and there before, but I never really got into it. She got me into watching it, and it's a great story from start to finish. It has a good art that follows all the way through. Some of the things you thought was going to happen based off of normal diatribes and stuff like that don't happen. And then, of course, you have the funny take of the TikTok video of like how Harry Potter's Star Wars with crappier lightsabers.
Yeah, that's true. I'm surprised that as a bigger reader as you are, you didn't just pick these up along the way. But I guess that kind of makes sense.
Well, with my reading, a lot of my reading comes from audiobooks.
Yeah.
And I really didn't get back into audiobooks. Like, I was in audiobooks a lot when I was younger, which was the CDs and cassette tapes I was in my car. But then I got out of it for a long time. Then I found I got a couple on iTunes when I had my iPhone before I switched over to Android and became, smart.
Well,
And then
we're all on a different journey, bro.
Yep. And then I was still trying to find audiobooks I thought it'd be cool to listen to, and then I finally found Audible, and then I've been on Audible ever since, and my reading has really taken off a lot. Like I think I have 322 books in my library on Audible.
Good God.
And I finished them all. And like I'm not listening to like 4 or 5 hour books. I've listened to Stormbound Archives, like the shortest book is 38 hours.
Right, The Way of Kings, Malazan.
Yeah. I've listened to the entire Bible audiobook on Audible. 98-hour audio.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. So I think, and for me, I'm the guy on South Park that when everybody was playing Lord of the Rings and they walked by the kids playing Harry Potter, Cartman kind of like threw a slur at them and basically called them lame for playing Harry Potter. That was me. I didn't read these in high school or early in college. It wasn't quite for me at the point. I didn't start reading these until probably about 10 years ago. And then like any good book series, like once you finally vet, I had the same thing with the Dresden Files, which I love. Obviously, you know this. I read the Sorcerer's Stone in like a couple of days, long weekend or something like that. Because it's only 300 page long. Like they're not all 1,000-page long things. I mean, the first couple are very digestible, you know. So I got into, and then it was off to the races. Then right about that time is when there were already 4 or 5 of the movies were out, so it was easy to kind of go back and then check those out. But I hadn't seen the last 2 or 3 movies in this series probably until the last 2 or 3 years. You know, I get this thing where I don't like to finish movie series, because like then it's over. You know what I mean? And that's and you're like, oh, okay, well that's it. But do you have the meta ready to go for the Sorcerer's Stone?
So I have some notes here on the entire franchise. I didn't actually go dive.
Yep, that's fine. That's fine.
But for the whole series, the Philosopher's Stone came out in 2001, where we have the introduction of all the main characters that you'll follow throughout the entire series. The part that I really was surprised about is like all 8 movies only have a combined budget of 1.2 billion.
Interesting.
They have brought in $7.7 billion in profit.
Attention executives in other nameless studios. This is how it's done.
They also brought in like virtual unknowns. I mean, they were known in like smaller roles in England, but like Daniel
stage and things. Yeah.
Emma Watson, Rupert Grant. And then you have your established ones like Andy Rickton, Maggie Smith, and of course
Alan Rickman.
I said Alan Rickman.
Did you say Alan Rickman? My bad.
Yeah,
I zoned. My bad, Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
I already zoned out. My bad.
But we're almost in Hans Gruber season, so.
Oh, there you go. And it is a Christmas movie. I'm just throwing that out there. That is the official channel stance that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Yes, it is. It's not Christmas until Hans Gruber falls off the Nakatomi Tower.
That's the best advent calendar I've ever seen. It's every day he falls down one more floor. Good shit. Yeah, dude, banging cast. I think that's one of the things we're going to talk about for sure is what they all brought to that particular table in the various roles that they played there. So the first movie came out in 2001. Do you have it right in front of you when Deathly Hallows Part 2 rolled through?
Deathly Hallows Part 2 came in 2011.
11, okay. So 8 movies.
Did you say Part 1 or Part 2?
No, the Part 1 came out when?
2010. Part 2 came out in 2011.
Part 1 of Harry Potter came out in 2010, really?
No, Deathly Hallows. Part 1 of Deathly Hallows.
Yeah. Okay,
book.
That's what yes, my bad. Gotta pull myself together here. So
actually, there wasn't much gap between much of these movies. Like Philosopher's Stone came out in 2001.
They moved it right along.
2002. The Prisoner of Azkaban. Azkaban was 2004. The Goblet of Fire was 2005. Order of Phoenix 2007. And like each of these movies grew bigger and bigger.
Yep.
But the thing was that they did what Rings of Power did, is they built a lot of the sets.
They front-loaded.
Yeah, front-loaded the building of the sets as they they just fell back on them, so you didn't have to have that reoccurring cost every time.
Well, what makes sense? I mean, why should you rebuild the entire town of Hogsmeade or the damn castle itself when you know you're always going to be in the Great Hall and the dining hall? You can always be in the same dorm. You know what I mean? For the movie, you're always going to get the same aerial shot of the Quidditch field, you know what I mean, where they do when they do their sporting event and shit. The classroom scenes are all the same. There's no reason to have to go back and blow money on that. But let's talk broad scope, because you mentioned character arcs and story arcs, which I thought was great. And I know you're a big fan of this. There's mini arcs for almost all of them.
Oh yeah.
And they start and they follow a through line, and there's some things start in book 1 or movie 1, and we're focusing mainly on the movies here, guys. That's what we're doing. We're not leaning wholly on the books, because there's a wealth of stuff that obviously, unfortunately, has to get left out to make these movies. So purists, I'm sorry, it's just like Lord of the Rings. We know certain things happen in a different order. We know certain things were embellished to make for a more visual, dramatic experience. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry.
Adaptations are hard.
They are. And they're hard in skilled hands. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how that goes. Character arcs here are clutch. It's not just Harry's show. Ron has a little bit of an arc that he goes through with his family. Hermione has an obvious arc that she goes through with her family and how she fits into Hogwarts at large. Snape has an arc. Hagrid has an arc. Dumbledore has an arc. Voldemort has an arc. I mean,
Malfoy even has an arc.
No, he has one of the better ones. He has one of the best ones. That's what I'm talking about. So pick your favorite one and just tell me a little bit about what you enjoyed most about all that character work, because a lot of it straight from the book and was great. Like, they didn't invent anything that I'm aware of to facilitate these arcs. They was all there. Rowling came up with all the stuff on her own. Yeah. Brilliant.
And I know she was heavily involved in the making of the movies and stuff like that too. So.
Oh yeah.
That's always nice when you have the creator of the source material to be available to pick their brain of, like, what were you thinking when you were doing this?
Yep.
And then go, well, we need to change this. Do you think that's okay? And then, you kind of get that bounce back, because not everything you write in a book you can show on a screen.
Right.
Or if you, because you might take 3 to 4 pages to describe one little thing where it's like a 3-second thing in a movie. So
we're looking at you, Wheel of Time.
Don't get me started.
Exactly. I know. Yeah,
it makes me cry.
I think you made a great point there about having the creator heavily involved, and I think we see the difference. You can juxtapose that easily with in recent things, like why the One Piece live action thing was so widely well regarded by most fans of the franchise, and things like Cowboy Bebop from the same studio over at Netflix with a lot of the same people working on it. They weren't constrained by the actual writer, creator, author of the IP being on set to be like, wait a minute, what? You're changing the costume? Why? Wait, this guy has a brother because what? You know what I mean? Like when J.K. Rowling, however we're saying it today, when she's on set, she goes, no. The Malfoy would never say that. No. Dumbledore meant this in this scene when he said whatever. I think you're exactly right. I think that goes a long way. But pitch me a little bit of what the first movie is about. It's way too big to be scene by scene, but like kick off, because it's a hero's journey and in its simplicity, it really is. Yep. It introduces us to the world, and then they go.
Yeah, it starts off with the very beginning of, like, Harry being left behind. You don't know why they're leaving this child behind,
right? And
stuff like that. Really cool scene of him turning on the night lights with his wand, or the street lights with his wand. Pulling the power into his wand and sending it back out as they leave.
And McGonagall does the shape-shifting cat thing to meet up with them, and pretty cool.
Yeah, good opening scene. It has a lot of promise of what you're going to see. I mean, you're coming in of a world of wizardry and magic, so it displays that, which references quite often Brandon Sanderson talking about a prologue and how it pretty much promises what you're going to see throughout the story. It might not have to set up the first chapter or anything like that, but it gives you either a glimpse into the future or what you can expect from this world. And that, I believe, this hammered it home quite well.
He's famously called that the promise of the premise.
Yeah, I
believe is his phrasing there. I think you're right, because if you look at that first movie, the first solid bulk of that, the first solid bulk of Act 1, we get that epic setup, and then it fast forwards basically to Harry being like 10 years old and just setting that status quo, the world before, and how god awful miserable it is. Yeah. Dude, have you ever? I mean, outside of serious drama like The Sound of Freedom or other things that deal with like awful child abuse thing, this is awful how he lives, but it's still in a very upbeat, weird, cheerful, you know, it's kid magic kind of movie thing. So you're not all squeamish about it. I mean, you shouldn't be. You're a little soft if you're squeamish about it, but like, what he's like, his bedroom at his aunt and uncle's house is like the closet under the stairs. I think that's the first chapter of the that's title 1.
Yeah,
of
the boy under the stairs.
The boy under the stairs.
Or was it called The Boy Who Lived?
That's his nickname. He's the boy who lived. I'm not sure if that's the chapter title in the book. I think it's literally the boy under the stairs or some shit, right? His fat ass cousin comes waddling down the stairs and is shaking dust loose onto his bed, onto his face, as he's locked into this closet under the stairs in like a cubbyhole. That's where he lives. His aunt and his uncle are the uncle's hilarious. I think, rest in peace. I think he just passed recently. But he plays the epic fatty in a way that's entirely too hysterical. And you feel for Harry instantly that he's the orphan. This family hates him for reasons. They have no reason to hate him. He seems like a nice kid, you know, but they hate him unilaterally. It's the three of them, you know, Fatty, the wife, and Fatty Jr. And I'm a fat, so I can say that, guys. That's our word. And you go through that whole section with him where you're like, dude, could somebody get this poor fucking kid on a broom and get him to a magic school, please? Like, get him out of here. Somebody call child services. This is awful. Did that all work for you? Because it worked for me because I thought it was epically hilarious and it drew out the empathy from me instantly. Instantly, it did.
Yeah, and the first chapter is called The Boy Who Lived.
Okay, which again also is his in-world nickname, obviously, with the scar and the confrontation with Voldemort.
Yeah,
which I know that stuff plays with the lightning bolt.
Yep.
Because that plays famously into, you know, his backstory with his mother saved him, and that's why Voldemort can't kill him directly at first, kind of thing. How they become, to quote a phrase from the Marvels, quantumly entangled. God, that's a separate video. But I love all that setup. It tells you everything you need to know about Harry. They get to there's a part where they're on a day trip to the zoo, does a little bit more character building with stuff that comes up later because Harry has an incident with the giant python, or boa, or whichever it is. He can talk to them. They call it parcel tongue, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah.
There's a word for it. And he basically, it's at that point he realizes there's something to him because he makes the window to the snake pen disappear. He makes the glass disappear after Dudley falls into it or something. Yeah, because Dudley falls in and shit. Which is hilarious.
He was making fun of the snake.
He was irking it on. Yeah. So you want to talk about more promise of the premise? Tell us about the part where he starts getting the invite to Hogwarts, because this shit's hysterical.
So the first
do you remember that part?
I remember the first one. I don't remember the owl bringing the first one. I do remember it like coming in the regular mail, and they just threw
that's
it
how
away.
it comes. That's how it comes at first. Yeah. It just comes in the mail slot.
And then it was an owl brought another one, and and this leads to the whole bunch of jealousy that you understand later in the thing. But they throw that one away, and then it's like they went on vacation. It was like Sunday, and they're like, no post on Sunday, and then it was like 2 or 3 owls come and drop it, and then they like went on vacation and hid like in this like island area, and like the whole fireplace got full with these invitations, and this is when you meet another huge character, Harry.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Yeah. So we get and again, I'm a big fan of the structure on these signposts. Hagrid's appearance sets up the door to Act 2, where Harry has to make that choice. He either has to answer the call and then, you know, pursue his destiny after Hagrid kind of sets him up, and you get the famous meme, "You're a wizard, Harry." You know,
You're a wizard, Harry.
Timeless meme. Because Hagrid shows up to little lighthouse vacation. He's got a flying motorcycle. He's like 8 feet tall. He kicks a door open. Uncle Fatty tries to shoot him with the double barrel, and he just kind of bends the barrel up, which is hysterical. And he gives him the rundown. He's like, "Harry, no, your mom and dad, James and Lily, no, they're great wizards and this and that, and you know they died in the struggle versus He Who Won't Be Named." So we get the intro to the villain, also kind of cool in that part. And then after some shenanigans, a little bit of fun and games there, he makes Dudley have the piggy tail, and kind of some funny shit happens. But he basically gives Harry a choice. He goes, "We can get your ass on the motorcycle and we can fly to Hogwarts, or you can stay here with these jackasses. Your call."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so Harry's got about 2, maybe 3 seconds before he just decides, "Yeah, I'm gonna go do that shit." You know?
Sorry about your
which is kind of cool. sorry about your door. And he picks it, and as he leaves, he picks it up and he just kind of he just props it up on the frame, which I thought was good shit. So I love that because that's a great. It's whenever you read, and maybe you've read these, maybe you haven't. I know I did when I was starting to learn, like when I really wanted to take like doing like fiction seriously, no longer like a hobby. I wanted to learn things like structure, story beats, acts, all those things. I bought a bunch of books, looked up a bunch of stuff online, looked at all the graphs of how the scenes are supposed to lay out, you know what I mean, and give you that order of operations, that mathematical quality to creative fiction. And guys, that exists. That's not formula in the bad way. That's formula in the good way. It's why a movie like this works, and and other movies that are garbage do not work. But I love so much that one of the things that they teach at the basic level about getting that transition between acts is that there's often the metaphysical door that moves the character from act 1 to act 2. This one had the metaphysical door, but it was also very literal because he has to move from A to B and get on a train with a friend after doing all the cool shopping shit. We could talk about that stuff too, Diagon Alley. But like him and Ron have to literally run through a wall that functions as a door into the next thing in the movie, where all the magic takes over. I don't know what parts do you want to talk about most? Is we don't really have a scene by scene. I think maybe there's some global stuff we can talk about just because that all has impact in the series. We could talk story beats. Let's make this your call.
So, I mean, the main thing I wanted to talk about was like how important Harry Potter is to modern fantasy, how it is to modern filmmaking and stuff like that. Because one of the things that a lot of people don't know about Harry Potter is that Dumbledore actually had to change due to the original actor passing away.
Yep.
And it was almost seamless. Like you never actually felt the change of the character. If you watch the movies, the first two movies have one Dumbledore, and then the third one to the end has a different one.
Yep.
Where he actually becomes a more prominent character as well. Like he was in the first two movies, he kind of was just in the background as the headmaster. He never really had a huge role. He was more of a standoffish Gandalf type character. Gandalf or Moraine, or the one who trains you. Yeah. Being that that mentor type character. He's
very much a figurehead of authority at the school for sure.
Yeah.
He's the principal. He's the headmaster. He's the principal. Right.
Yeah. Which he pretty much gives Harry the answer at the end of the Philosopher's Stone of where to actually find it.
Well, because he's the one that hit it and set up the security system on it and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, overall, I mean, the story itself is very iconic in the way it's told, because like we said, it is a hero's journey. I made the joke about like how it's Star Wars with the crappier lightsabers that I've heard so many times, but I mean, it tells pretty much the same story.
But Star Wars did that to all the things that came before it, you know what I mean? Like Flash Gordon and the other million things that Lucas ripped off. But anyway, continue, please.
Yeah. But because I mean, see, when you first introduce, you have Harry, and then he meets Ron at shopping, right? He meets Ron and Ron's family, and they kind of just...
He meets Ron on the train.
On the train?
Yep. That's when they meet up. Yeah, Hagrid takes him shopping the first time.
Okay.
Basically, brings him to the bank, brings him to the bookstore, and the Oliver's wand.
And then he also got his owl then too.
Yep. And he meets Ron on the train later because Harry's in the compartment, and Ron goes, "Hey, there's no results taken. You mind if I sit here?" And he's like, "Oh no, cool. I'm Harry. I'm Ron." And they have like a regular dudes meeting on a train, going to prep school kind of thing,
Yeah.
Normal. It's just normal.
You also like soon after meet the third major character of the trio, and that's Hermione, who you immediately...
Hold up. Time out. How on earth are you able to pronounce Hermione, considering some of the basic ass shit you get wrong here week to week? You just said that flawlessly. We now have to elevate your standard of name saying, just so you know, because in the back of my head, I was trying to bite the grin back. I was like, I can't wait till he has to say this chick's name. And then all of a sudden, here comes Kingsley talking about Hermione. Like it's tongue twisting easy now. This is some bullshit. You robbed me of a meme that was going in the video, just so you know. Resume. So they meet a...
I am bad with names and
You're
pronouncing
terrible
names.
with real names, dude. Dude, who else on the planet had ever heard this name? And maybe this is a cultural thing for Britain or something. I don't know. Who knew this name before this character rolled in? Nobody.
I'm gonna give you a hint into my secret power on this one. I lived in England for 2 years.
There were a lot of Hermiones. Oh, actually, by the time you lived there, they probably were.
They probably were.
A bunch of them running around. All right. Wolf stands corrected. No problem. No problem. So you were saying that, yeah, and then Hermione comes in, and her introduction, we're gonna be 10 seconds on her, is so good because Ron comes in and he's the common kid. You know, they had this scene where, you know, the lady with the candies trying to sell them shit. Ron's broke. He's got like a bag of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. It's all smashed up. The Harry's got mad wizarding gold from his parents, buys the lot, and they just bond over that. So that's like another plus point for Harry right away.
Yeah.
It's a sympathy point for Ron right away. Like, oh, dude, I know what that was like to not be able to just buy some rando shit every time like somebody came around selling some, you know? And then Hermione shows up, and she's completely different than Ron, but cool in a character way. She's kind of a bitch, but still, she's all know-it-all. She fixes Harry's glasses in the first scene in like 3 of these movies. It becomes kind of a running gag, but she's very much hoity-toity. I know everything here. You're saying the spell wrong. It's Leviosa, like that whole thing that comes up later. But it's another great intro. So if we just recap all the characters you've been introed. Dumbledore, epic entry with the wand, shutting off the lights.
Yep.
Professor McGonagall, Black Cat. Harry, the dipshit parents. Ron, Hermione, like everybody you get to meet has a memorable first glance.
Yep.
Love it.
And like Hermione's entrance plays into who she is. Like she has to try harder than everybody else because of her background of being what, a muddle blood they taught it.
Muggle.
Yeah.
Mudblood is the slur. We don't say that on this channel. That could get us demonetized. not that we're monetized yet. Guys, speaking of monetized, King Z, give him our sales pitch.
Oh yeah. We are not monetized. We do not have the subscriber list. But if you want to help us out with that and hit that subscribe button, go ahead and hit that like button to help us in the algorithm so other people who might want to subscribe, hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell every time we drop fun content like this or anything else we do so you don't miss out on any of what we're trying to pass off on this channel. And with that said, go ahead and leave us a comment. Tell us how dumb we are. Tell us how smart we are. Tell us how ugly we are. I don't care. Just leave us a comment.
Don't do any of that. Just talk about Harry Potter down in the comments. King Z's having some kind of existential crisis here, guys. We have to technical break and come back after getting some Zoloft. Wait, can we say Zoloft on this?
I'm not sure.
Can we talk about
We're
pharmaceuticals?
demonetized. It doesn't matter at this point.
We'll just cut that out. So, and this is again to your point. I'm gonna rein you back into. Hold on, we're gonna just throw it in. We're gonna mime our way back into King Z. Here we go. Hermione's background, awesome. Because it's different than Ron's. Because when we see Hermione's parents later, they're like regular old middle class, but they're muggles. They're not magically attuned at all.
Yep.
It looks like they have a little bit of money. We see their house much later in the series. But Ron is dirt poor, from like almost the tropey dirt poor, big but overwhelmingly loving family.
But still
ride and
wizard
die.
legacies as well.
Oh yeah, all of them, and gifted ones. Mama Weasley's no joke. You learned that the hard way in that last movie, didn't you, bitch? Just saying. You know, and you know, Papa Weasley works for the Ministry of Magic because wizards in this world have their own government branch to make sure it's a world unseen, also kind of tropey, but very well done in all the movies, all the books. It's always very fun when the two worlds cross over and it's kind of like a minor crisis. And then in the later books and movies, it spills over into some, well, wait a minute, this dude's coming back to fuck the whole world over, not just like the wizarding world. You know what I mean? Like that was Voldemort's goal, was elimination basically of anybody not on the payroll. You know, for him. So, and then you have Harry's background. He's the orphan. So you've got 3 people that normal people can sympathize with or empathize with, all of them. And then you get Draco Malfoy, and I'm gonna roll you into the Draco talk because they're on the train. They have a quick meeting, I think, on the train. But the big meeting between Harry and Malfoy comes at Hogwarts before the sorting.
Yep.
Right. Tell us about Draco Malfoy and his father.
So
whatever you remember.
Well, Draco Malfoy is the son of what's
Lucius
Malfoy.
I got you.
Which I met the actor, worked with him on a film.
Because he's awesome.
He's a nice guy, really nice guy.
Love him. He's a dick in every movie he's in, but he's awesome. He's in The Patriot as the dick British guy, as the ranking commander on the field. He's a dick in Alien 3. A couple others.
He has a very different relationship with his father because his father, based on his dress, you pretty much he's like a rich, evil guy.
Oh yeah.
You can just
One
tell by the
percenter.
way he's dressed. He has the straight white hair, like that's just associated with like being evil.
He's carrying a jewel-encrusted gold cane.
Yeah.
He's a Bond villain. He's a Bond villain.
And then like he was even making fun of the Weasleys of like his his main their middle life.
Yeah. That's a great scene in and of itself too, because Lucius Malfoy insults Weasley for he said for consorting with Muggles at one point in one of the movies. He goes, "You're an insult to the name of wizard for consorting with Muggles." And Papa Weasley says back, "We have a very different definition of what insult to wizard means." And then he calls him by his last name, which was dope. It was pretty good shit. Good shit. But for Harry and Draco, I like it because when they get to the school, they don't know each other at all. Like they haven't crossed paths yet. Harry's only buddy with Ron on the train and shit. Malfoy's, my father's such and such on the board of directors. I'm top dog. I'm gonna be Slytherin like my dad, and this and that. And he says, I can show you, who you should, who's worth hanging out with around here, this and that. And he puts his hand up for the shake, and Harry just eyeballs the hand. He's like, I think I can figure that out for myself. It just dogs him. He's like, no, I've already made my friends over here with the normal kids that aren't a-holes. You can go fuck right off with the slimy, slick back blonde hair like your dad bullshit. But again, another great little bit of character intro of Malfoy, because you don't forget when you met Draco Malfoy. Yeah. You already didn't like that kid. And fun fact, he auditioned for the Harry Potter character, which I thought was great. And they were like, nah, dog. Draco.
Which
we got this other nerdy kid.
I don't think you could have anyone else because he played it so well. The actor.
He's a little snot.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely a little snot.
Which leads into their whole rivalry going up, which leads to the great redemption arc at the end of the whole series of Draco. But he believes he's that rich. Y'all know him, the rich. They're always
entitled.
Yeah,
he's
the entitled. Even the school we went to, we had you had the 3 big names at the school, last names, and they thought they run the school, and they pushed everyone else around, and then there was the rest of us.
And we all did okay.
Yeah,
we all did okay. I like how my journey gone so far. Throw that out there. But one of the things we were saying earlier, we were talking about just getting into the character arcs and things like that. I like that. Nothing for any of the good character, not the good characters back. I mean, like the good guys. Nothing was ever really easy for them, ever throughout this, and it got worse as things went. As they grew up, it very much paralleled growing up like in real life. You get a little bit older. You get pressures of growing up, like with school, pressures with dating, pressures with expectations from family, all that stuff. Oh, and on top of that, there's a supernatural evil that's back and will probably come to our school and burn us to death. So there's that. Yeah. But nothing was ever easy for Harry. Every book he was in, the rug gets pulled out from him in a couple of occasions, which is kind of cool. And when we talk about modern characters, meaning like characters in the last 5 years or so, none of that's there. So I'm going to put you on the spot. Compare elements of how Harry Potter comes across, and maybe it's unfair, with Sabine and Ahsoka. You know what I mean? Like, is there a contrast here to how, because that character had 4 or 5 seasons on Clone Wars to be developed. Harry Potter got a bunch of movies and the books. So I mean, I think they're fair, but like you never really see her in that most recent show. She's never put through her paces. She's never challenged by anybody, but Harry's routinely challenged based on his background. Not everybody likes him because of his background. Some kids think, oh, well, wait a minute, he's the entitled dick. He's the boy that, the boy that lived, What do you think of that contrast? Is there a comparison there to make?
I would say that's a little bit of apples and oranges here, just because of the different takes. Like one, you have an adolescent boy, pre-adolescent actually, when he starts, and then goes through growing up.
There you go.
And it's a weird night for me.
There it is.
But when you're going,
it's because the Lions won.
Oh yeah, yeah, they did. 7 and 2. 7 and 2. All right, but anyways, beside the point, off the subject. We're moving on.
That's all right.
Harry's struggle, because you don't want to be a Mary Sue in these type of books, and I think they did a great job of protecting him not being. If he doesn't always succeed, like they almost in the first one messed that up, making him a Mary Sue, because I mean he plays Quidditch for the first time and he's already so good at getting the snitch.
But it's the only thing he's really good at, though. It's the one thing that they let him have. I know exactly what you mean, because Hermione's the magic powerhouse. Yeah. She's the one that comes in and bulldozes anything that requires a magical solution, you know? But you're right. I think they were working on protecting him from being Ray. There's the comparison. I guess maybe there's the comparison to me.
Yeah, there you go. Because Ray was just like everything she touched was golden.
Instantly.
She had no true animosity or adversity to get over, where Harry Potter kind of did, but it grew with each book. Like the first book, it was very little, and that he had to actually get over. It was mostly just being introduced to a new world that he never knew. Even though he is an orphan, he didn't know the information about his parents' death. But
right. That was a shock to him when he got it, right?
Yeah, he didn't know about any of them because you find out that, you know, he's staying with his aunt and his aunt's husband. So, and it was his mom's sister was the aunt, and how jealous she was of her sister for getting the letter and then her not getting the letter. And you find that out later when they were talking about, you know, him getting invited and like why they were hiding it from him and everything like that. I think that actually came in the first movie or second movie.
It was in the first. It was when Hagrid shows up because Harry's like, "Oh, you told me they died in a car crash."
Yeah,
or some bullshit. But more comes out throughout the later books about Lily Potter. I don't remember the aunt's name, Petunia, about their relationship, how she was mega jealous. And then one of the things, and just as a quick aside, one of the things the movies gets wrong later, because I think they did a better. This is one of those things that the book has more time to play with. Is when it's in one of the later books where Harry's talking about what the loss of his mother meant to him. The aunt kind of counters and be like, yeah, except that the night Lily died, you didn't just lose a mother, I lost a sister. And I'm like, you don't get to play that line in the movies when all you've done is shit on this character for like 8 turns. I think it was in Deathly Hallows Part 2, I think. And I'm like, in the books, that felt more earned, if I remember it right, just because there were glimpses of her explaining what their relationship was like before Lily, if I remember right, became more magic, came into her power. You know what I mean? But in the movie, that part didn't work down. That was way later. Way later. But yeah, dude, nothing was ever easy for him. And they always, I think that they laid the challenges on really thick to him as they went. Like in this first movie that we're talking about, the Sorcerer's Stone, it became very Goonies-like as it went on, because it was a group of kids that I had identified a problem through kid lens logic. They brought it to the adults. They went to McGonagall and say, listen, we got to talk to Dumbledore. Some shit's popping off. We figured this shit out. You got to do something. Oh, he's away in Britain. He's away in London on business. You just have to go back to your dorm, I guess. It's like the adults don't live. It's some Stranger Things shit. It's exactly the same thing. You know, the adults don't listen until it's too effing late. And that's also kind of, you need that kind of charm in a movie like this.
I like their big first challenge when someone let the troll in and they had because was it Voldemort needs Harry to die so he can get like his body back.
It's a little convoluted at the end, but Harry is like the 7th or the 6th Horcrux or something. I'm not an expert, but it's something to that extent that gets brought up way later.
Yeah, because
like Luke and Leia aren't brother and sister later. You know what I mean? I don't think she had that all figured out yet with the Horcruxes. Like
they were investigating Voldemort, he who should not be named. They went out into the forest and they saw that someone was killing unicorns and drinking
the unicorn drinking the blood. Yep.
And they're saying that can prolong someone's life. They didn't, so that's what he's been, diminished to was that.
Right.
And then the great reveal at the end where it was the other side of the dude's head who wore the turban.
Professor Quirrell. Yep.
Yeah.
And that is a great turn because that's a returning motif in a lot of the books and movies, that there's always a danger lurking closer to you than Voldemort is. You know, because we get in book 2, there's a reveal like that where, you know, it's in the Chamber of Secrets, it's Tom Riddle's spirit that's working through Ginny Weasley. You know, we get the other book where Mad Eye Moody, it's one of the bureaucrats of the Ministry of Magic's son having taken his form to get inside Hogwarts. So there's always that kind of double dealing going on, which is a trademark of the book, and I love that stuff too. I love
Speaking
that.
of Mad Eye Moody, Brendan Gleeson is an amazing actor.
Yeah, fact.
Which I work with.
Fact.
On a movie called Green Zone with Matt Damon.
You got pictures of these guys? I can put them up there like I did the Matthew Lillard.
Don't have a picture of me with Brendan Gleeson. I do have a picture of me with Matt Damon though.
You throw it in there. He said it. We can splice it in here. No problem. We can do that.
Actually, that was the very first movie I ever worked on. Like even before I got into the film industry, I was a background because they were looking for real military people to be in it, and I was in this movie. Green Zone.
Cool. Yeah, dude, if you throw the picture in the folder, we'll throw that in there. The fun and game. Let's talk fun and games because I think that because it's literally fun and games in this book. As Harry's kind of figuring out all the different parts of the world, the classrooms, he's got the different classes he's teaching, that he's taking, the learning that he's pretty good at Quidditch because his dad was pretty good at it, and he's got a little bit of a legacy. In Gryffindor, which we skipped over that whole bit with like the Sorting Hat. Also very kid-like, very cool. You know what I mean? That's part of the fun and games. You get to the thing, you're nervous about which table you're gonna sit at. You put on this old ass hat. The hat's kind of a dick, and it's like, oh yeah, Ravenclaw. No, Hufflepuff. And then it gets inside Harry's head. It's like, oh, yeah, you got some Slytherin shit, boy, don't you? And then Harry's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And the hat's like, all right, fuck you, go Gryffindor for the win. You know, and they kind of set him up. But the whole thing is it just feels familiar. It feels like getting picked for a team or not getting picked for a team or learning where you were going to sit in homeroom. You know what I mean? Like, it was all very accessible. You know, so I love that whole scene because you feel for him. You're like, oh, dude, he gets stuck in Slytherin. Like, for the most part, they're just a group of kids. Draco's a dick.
Yeah.
You know, and they all become villainous a little bit later, but like up front, like if they were the evil class, do you really think the school would let it stay open? Like let them stay a thing? Probably not.
I was probably the Hufflepuff.
You seem like a Hufflepuff. Yeah. I'd probably be Gryffindor. I'm not gonna lie. I like the colors, I like the golden red, golden maroon. Ravenclaw's kind of dope, but I don't know about the puff. But the other fun and games that come through towards the end is they're doing the march on the castle part, or as they get to the march on the castle. You know, each of his friends has to make a heroic decision to sacrifice themselves to let the hero move on. You know, Ron plays the chess game. What does Hermione do? What's Hermione's obstacle in this one? Why can't I remember?
I remember it was the wizard's chest with
that was Ron's big thing. Yeah. And they set that up earlier too because he was playing early, so none of this comes out of the blue, by the way.
Yeah, it was pretty much all their strengths. Hers had to do with, I think, the proper like reading or something like that. Like I read this whole thing and then she knew how to.
Oh yeah. It was that because then she gets separated by like the rock slide, and then it's Harry and Ron have to go on.
Yeah.
So she's taken out of the equation by that, and then they come across wizard chess, and Ron's like, "Yeah, no, I'll do this shit. It's more important that you go." And then he gets taken out by the piece. You're not sure if he's dead because in this movie, it looks like you could probably fucking die. Like there's ghosts in the castle. Yeah. Death is a thing in this world. You know what I'm saying? And that hits home hard as hell in Goblet of Fire. Cedric Diggory learns the hard way.
Yeah.
Death is That's one of the best scenes. That's one of the best scenes in all that entire franchise. As an aside, when Harry brings the body back and he's crying over the body, the kid's dad comes down from the stands and he loses his shit. Good shit. But they're progressing right through all the fun and games. They got to deal with Snape. Dude, we got to talk about Snape. We got like 5 minutes left. We got to talk about Snape, who may be modern Vader. Is he modern Vader?
I don't want to say modern Vader because if you actually follow him through, he is always on Harry's side, even though he's like
being
the
an
leader
a-hole.
Slytherin. Yeah, because he's not going to give it to him easy because he's a Potter, and like you see later that the Potters bullied him.
One of them did.
Yeah, Harry's father, in
one
particular.
of them did. Yeah.
So, and like his fondness for Harry's mother.
Yeah.
Was what the driving force. Like, what was it, the first one or the second one where they were putting their curse on his broom while he playing Quidditch, and like you see, and then you see like Snape going
because he was the one trying to save him from
he was doing the counter curse.
He was doing the counter curse. Oh, that part 1 because it was Quirrell. It was the dude with the turban was doing up the
and they
the
thought
actual out of control curse, right?
And he thought he was doing the curse.
Right,
so
and then Ron
like
and Hermione go over there and set his fucking cape on fire. And try to like, all right, that's some shit kids would probably do. I don't know.
Yeah, and it
love
also
the
scared the actual person doing the curse, so they still thought that, you know, when he stopped, the curse stopped, but he actually sensed it and was doing the counter curse, which you find out later. And then the whole, like, the triple agent type thing he's doing.
Oh, yeah.
And
dude,
later,
that got crazy near the end of that.
when you got into the Half-Blood Prince and everything.
Yeah. Dude, that was big. Like, he was a Death Eater, but then he wasn't, but then he was, but then he wasn't, but then he had to, spoiler alert, be the one to kill Dumbledore publicly to cement his role as the sextuple agent or something. I don't know, dude. It kind of got wild.
And then what he did the promise that couldn't be broken or something like that.
He did the bond with Draco's mom.
Yeah.
It was the unbreakable promise. It wasn't called a curse. It was the unbreakable promise. I think.
Yeah, it was like yeah, he can't tell a lie, so he had to say that he was going to do something. Yep. That way he doesn't get like a death curse on him. Yep.
That's because I think that was the penalty for breaking his word. But I love the Snape look. We could talk about Alan Rickman for days. We'll talk about that in a second. But Snape, of course, he's the only character at the castle dressed all in black. It is very Darth Vader-ish. He flourishes with the cape when he shows up. None of the students fuck with him. They know better. He's that guy. Yeah. It's not just that he hates Harry Potter. He's just that guy.
Yeah.
You know, he is an a-hole.
He's the instructor or professor at college that everyone wants to be in his class, but he hates everyone in his class. But he's the teacher. Sure. He's the professor you want. Right. He's the one who's actually going to teach you something.
Right. And of course, he's the professor of fucking dark arts. By the end, like that's his gig. That's the gig he wants. Because he does potions.
Yeah, protection of the dark arts or defense against the dark arts.
Defense against that's it. Defense against the dark arts. Because when we meet him, and he's another one. He has an arc. He has a wand. He's professor of potions, which is some bullshit. You know, doesn't fit the aesthetic.
Well, which also you find out he was like really good at potions.
Yes,
you find that out in the Half-Blood Prince.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Like,
you find it out you find it out in dribs and drabs along the way, because I think he makes recommendations. He like in Goblet of Fire, he's the one that recommends to Neville that he uses the gillyweed to do the whatever thing spell that was called, to breathe underwater, to tell Harry to do it. Like Neville didn't figure that shit out on his own. Snape was like, oh, Longbottom, do this. Maybe want to look into the gillyweed or some bullshit. And you're like, oh yeah, so this guy actually, again, has some knowledge, but has a want. He had an aspiration to be a different kind of teacher. You know, Alan Rickman in this role, is he the best performer in the series?
Hands down.
Hands down. The only proper answer. Dude, because again, it's not memeable, but it's the quote out there always printed on all the merchandise. Like when the quote from the book when Dumbledore asks, they have a big setup about why Snape's doing what he's doing, you know what I mean? And Dumbledore simply just asks for her, and all fucking Snape has to say back for Lily, speaking of Lily Potter, is always.
Yep.
That's the modern I love you, I know.
Yep.
From Han and Leia, hands down. Like that's it. You read that in print, you get chills. See it in the film, chills, because Alan Rickman sells the shit out of it.
Yep.
He's that good. He's 100% that good.
He was a phenomenal actor, very underrated until his passing, when actually people went back and looked at his body of work and was like, this guy never did a bad performance.
Dude, Galaxy Quest, he was great.
He was always all in.
Yep. Dude, Hans Gruber. Awesome.
Which was his first movie role, because he was a stage actor before that.
Yep.
I mean, he still did stage work.
A very good stage actor, to be clear, right? So my man had some talent. A lot of the Euro types that are in movies, that are in the Harry Potter franchise, had classic stage backgrounds. I believe Maggie Smith has classic background.
Oh yes.
As Professor McGonagall. The first Dumbledore, I believe, also did. I don't know about Michael. I think his name's Michael Gabon, who was Dumbledore in 3 going forward. I'm not sure if he did, but a lot of the older folks, and even some of the younger cast members did. I'm quite certain Emma Watson did as a child.
I don't know. I can't say.
Right,
I mean, they were so young when they started. It was like
they were like 10.
Much, yeah.
Yeah. But dude,
they grew up in the
Yep.
public eye in this movie.
And you know what? I'm glad you said that, because we had a long drive today. We were talking about Stranger Things being delayed, and how when these kids get around to making season 5, like what's her name in real life? Like 11 in real life just got married. She's like 22, right? Yeah. By the time this show comes out, these high school juniors are going to be like 32. You know what I mean?
Were they like high school freshmen in the season 4?
Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe. Oh yeah, because they were at different schools, or because 11 and Will went out to California or whatever. So like freshmen, whatever. Dude, they're gonna be like 40-year-old sophomores. I know that sounds like a great movie title for like a comedy or something. 40-year-old sophomore. But this, like you said earlier, because they fired these movies off rapid fire, right? They were able to capture these kids being age 10 through like 20 by the time it was done, because they noticeably grow. In the first movie and the second movie, they're more or less about the same appearance. There's a little bit of change to hair, a little bigger, but going from 3 and upward, and there's a massive jump between the last 2. You know what I mean? There's a big jump. Like they're grown-ups now at that point, playing high school.
What was it? The movies franchise started in 2001 was the first release, and 2011 was the second. So 10 years. I mean, you start at 10, you're gonna be 20 when you're done.
Well, that's what I mean, and luckily, you know, like Emma Watson is very pretty, so she can play younger than she. I mean, she's very talented, also obviously very intelligent, but she can play younger. Daniel Radcliffe, until he did some of the things after Harry Potter, had a very wiry, had a very younger look. He was a little baby face-ish, so that he could be 21, 22, playing 17 or 18 at the end as a high schooler at the end of his high school run. So I mean, they did that wisely, I think. Yeah,
and Ron just looked young. He just always looked young.
Right, because he sells the second to youngest kid in a family of 38 or however many Mama Weasley popped out. You know, Weasley's all of them are great characters as they appear. The twins are great. That was a banger part of the Battle of Hogwarts and Deathly Hallows and everything. Some people still aren't over that. Yep. Some people still aren't over that shit.
Yeah, that one hit me.
And
I didn't know what to expect, because like I said, I saw a couple of them. I think I saw the first one in theaters when it first came out. And after that, I really didn't watch any. I think I watched Goblet of Fire, but then I watched.
That's a good one. Yeah.
It was like 2012, I think, when my current wife got me to watch all of them. Like we started with the first one. I think we did over a month. We watched all the Harry Potters. And like I didn't know what to expect going into Deathly Hallows.
Go ahead.
Like we were talking when the book was coming out, and like I told him, like, you know, the first chapter of the very first book was called The Boy Who Lived. The last chapter of the last book would probably be The Boy Who Died, as a full, you know, book in the whole thing.
The arc.
But it wasn't. But you know,
well, what was for a little bit, because that happened. He was in that space in between. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you see, I almost envy you that you watched all these movies in the course of a month, because for me, and I love bringing it back to the Dresden Files every time I can. When I finally got into the Dresden Files, I think he had out through Peace Talks. So the only 2 missing were Battleground and he had up through Skin Game. And then we were waiting for Peace Talks and Battlegrounds, the last 2. So I got so immersed in that world so quickly, it all felt real. You know what I mean? Like it all felt authentic and well developed. And dude, I knew Murphy's family inside and out, and I knew the werewolf kids that he trained. I wanted to be Michael Carpenter. I still do, because he's the best character in that series, hands fucking down. You know, and he's like the anti-Snape, and he's Superman minus Superman shit. You know, so when you get, dude, he does wear a cape. I hope they bring him back in a cape role, like up power him permanently. That's what I want to see. Right? Like, can Michael just take a break? Can Uriel take a break from the job permanently? Just put Michael in, please. Tag him in, coach. But like, the Potter series in the books went the same way too. And what I was gonna say, because we were talking about the twins at the end of the run, the movie kind of misses out on some of the punch of that one character's death compared to the book. Like, there's a couple of pages describing that in that book that if you read them, they'll knock you on your ass compared to what we got in the movie. It was still moving in the movie, but it wasn't quite up to the book, sealing the deal. And it's not because the actors are bad. They were great. You know what I mean? Everybody loves those guys. Yeah, dude, that's the Potter. That's the Potter in a nutshell. It's kids doing kid shit, getting mixed up into some magic. None of the adults listen and believe them. They got a little quest that they have to do. Dude, you know what? Let's take 2 extra minutes just to talk about this, because I think this is another common complaint that we have current day. Did anything in Potter 1 in particular, because that's what we kind of touched on mainly, did you feel like you were dragged along like a video game NPC quest at any point? Like, was this all fetch quest bullshit?
No.
Or was it just like the story progressed and we had enough stuff that happened on the side that kind of moved the story forward? Like, I mean, they were trying to recover a MacGuffin, but like they had to move it themselves and make effort and make choices and have challenges and setbacks and all that good stuff. So for me, it never felt that way, but I wonder if anybody else wanted to compare it to that as an NPC kind of fetch quest.
Well, I mean, they kind of had to choose to go on, because literally they could have just sat back and gone to school and just let whatever happened around them happen around them. But you saw that their character had to develop. Now, there was stuff that they had to do, but they're trying to unravel a mystery that was going through 8 books or 7 books and 8 movies.
7 books, 8 movies. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going through 7 books. It was one mystery from start to finish that had like little, stopping points, and it kind of coincided with their schooling and stuff like that. But
right.
You needed those things to actually keep telling the story, to figure out why these things keep happening to them. So no, it didn't feel that way at all.
Yeah, like I said, I think I tend to agree with that. There are elements of they have to do certain things, but I never remember being at a point in any of them where I felt like the only way this plot happens is if X thing also happens to make it happen. You know, like you said, the choices that they make have impact later, and in some cases unexpected ways. Characters always make logical decisions based on who they are as characters and not what the story wants to happen at any given moment. You know, like when
the law of
unintended consequences.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like the choices they make have impacts, whether they be kind of hilarious, like when Hermione makes up the potion, turns her into a cat, but it works on the guys. Like when they're trying to infiltrate Slytherin early on. I think that's in book 2. Right down to like the big unintended consequences, where like, what's his face? Ron starts reading Harry getting a little too big for his britches, and all of a sudden it looks like they're not friends for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's a lot of those things that come up. You know, Harry has issues with self-confidence, and he doesn't ask out the girl he likes until too late, and then she's off to the ball with Cedric Diggory. You know what I mean? So like there's all that normal kid shit, and then they get the magic complications on top of it. So there's always fun in watching those, even when they get dour towards Order of the Phoenix and like the later ones, because some of that shit's bleak. Some of that shit's Empire Strikes Back bleak. They lose group members. They lose they lose members to the Order. They lose Dumbledore and one of them going forwards. I mean, there's a lot that those characters have to deal with, but it's all very compelling. It's never a waste of time to reread one of these or rewatch one of the movies, especially once you find your 1 or 2 favorites out of the bunch.
Yeah.
You have a favorite?
I really did like Goblet of Fire. I did like that one.
The competition one? Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And like seeing all the different schools come together, knowing that, Hogwarts isn't the only one.
Oh yeah,
there's the Siberian one. There's
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
that was very cool.
It was a good story. It built the world a lot more. So, and that's where everything really kind of just.
Oh yeah, that's the Cedric death at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the Death Dealers are back. Voldemort has a body. And isn't that where they start off with like the World Quidditch Championship?
The attack, yes. Oh,
yeah, that happened at the game.
And the Ministry tries to bury it as having been not a thing. But by the end of this movie, nobody can deny, and that's why Harry's like, he's back, Voldemort's back, and like everybody, now you know this is a thing. Like, that's how it's gonna be. Check the cup. It was a port key. His magic's on it. Like, we got the prince. For sure. That was the one. I think I like Goblet of Fire. I watched that one a lot because, again, I like the competition. I like the 3 schools thing. I like that this is kind of the beginning of he's just grown enough to not be a cute kid anymore. And when the grown-ups don't believe him, it's super fucking frustrating now. Because you're at that point when you're like 13 or 14 where you do know a couple of things and you would hope that people trust you in like emergencies and in bad situations, and nobody pays him any mind. Like the one scene in particular in that movie when the fourth name comes out of the goblet and Harry's underage and it's a violation of the rules to be in, but for some reason if your name's in it you have to do it, and to not do it means you get expelled or some bullshit. I don't know why Dumbledore just wasn't like, well, we just said he's not old enough, so I don't know who put his name in. He said he didn't do it, he's not doing it. But like Dumbledore doesn't believe him anyway. He's like, did you put your fucking name in? It's like the only thing missing from that scene was like the 9mm pointed at him. Like, did you do that shit? You know what I mean? Like that was the only thing missing from that, you know? But I think my favorite, I gotta go the movie before that. I think Prisoner of Azkaban is my jam. I like Gary Oldman as the as Sirius Black. I love the idea of Azkaban prison. I've story workshopped a bunch of ideas in my head going back to like high school about magic prisons for all kinds of different shit. I love seeing the idea up on the screen. I think that's when we get the mention of like the Dementors. They mention about how they hold down the court, and then of course we see them later. Kind of cool. But this is also the one where the group dynamic starts to shape in a way. It definitely takes off in Goblet of Fire with Hermione now being like a girl, like they recognize her as a girl now and not just like a young kid. But we start to see that triangle forming in this movie too. This is the one that has the time turner. We get some of the time travel stuff with Hagrid, the hippogriffs, the executioner that's gonna come chop this fucking thing's off, its head off because Draco's a bitch and didn't listen in class. There's a lot to like, I think, in Azkaban as well. It's one of my favorites. Dude, any closing remarks on Harry Potter? Because we covered the F out of this without going into all 46 movies and 1 million books. But dude, I love this shit. In retrospect, even as a younger adult and as a middle-aged adult now, I still love it. It still holds up for me.
Oh yeah, it was a great story. There's nothing bad I could really say about it, and like how much it's impacted like culture. And like you always hear like, you're a wizard, Harry, and like the simple quotes like that. The giant wizarding world they did at Universal, which is like really good. You go there and try the butterbeer. Butterbeer is amazing.
Had it. Yep.
It's so good.
Did you go Florida or California? You must have Florida, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Florida.
True.
I don't think it's in California. I've been to both.
They must have that out there.
No, I think it's only in Florida. Because I don't think they have enough room, because the Universal Studios lot is so much smaller.
Yeah, you're right.
In California. Because one, it's actually on an active lot of Universal.
Yeah.
The theme park is. So.
I didn't even think of that. True.
Like,
that's a great theme park in Florida.
They have the Bates Motel there, like where they shot it. They have the whole like.
Oh, the house.
Yeah.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah, you do the Batlock tour, and you also like you see the cabin from The Great Outdoors.
Oh, super cool.
There. You could go down Mysteria Lane from Desperate Housewives, which is also double used as there's a purple house on the street, which was the Addams Family house.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, you actually see it in the TV show Desperate Housewives, this purple house, and that's the same house they use for
that's slapping.
Yeah, in the Addams Family. So yeah,
love that park.
It's only in Florida. I remember
great park. Great
doing
park.
doing the ride, which was really cool. Like we played Quidditch and stuff.
Sick. We just went this past April. Awesome.
Do not do that ride, because it will mess with your motion sickness so bad.
Don't listen to Kingsy. Don't listen to Kingsy. Take a Dramamine and get on the ride. It's worth it. You might throw up a while, but it's so worth it. That was a great ride. I loved every second of that. Dude, that park is taking Disney's lunch money right now. This is my per video rant on anti-Disney. Everything about being in Universal on that side is great. They recreated the shops. They recreated aspects of the school. People show up to that park in costume. Dude, we were there in like late April. The average temperature of the day in late April was 96 degrees. They were fucking 20-year-old girls walking around full wizarding robe gear because they're diehard. We went over to fucking Galaxy's Edge over Star Wars. How many people were dressed up for that shit show? Zero. Just saying. It's a tale of two parks. But yeah, dude, the Potter, dude. Good stuff. Now, to close, right? What are your expectations for the series? Because you're the one that brought this to my attention. What do you think? What are they doing with this? And can they pull it off? Do we know anything?
From what I'm hearing is that each book will get a 10-episode season.
Oh.
So they're pretty much going to remake the movies into a season. So
Interesting.
You're going to get 7 seasons right off the bat, and then it's supposed to lead into a post-book season as well.
Interesting.
I believe it's not needed. I think it's going to be overkill, and I think it's going to pour a lot of cold water on what they've already created.
You think the series is unneeded, or you think that last season? Oh, okay, all right. So you're not just saying about the season.
No, I think the series is something nobody's asking for. Nobody wants it. Now, if they were going to do a straight, like, post-Harry series in the Wizarding World, like they did the Wizarding World of Harry Potter type series, I think could possibly be good. But redoing what's already been made, you're just going to crap on the magic that's already there.
That's an interesting take. I wouldn't have expected that from you, because I'm gonna go the other way on that. I think that the guy in charge of Warner Brothers knows this is a hot ticket property that should be generating more than it is right now. These Fantastic Beasts movies that they made before he showed up were dog shit, because they were based on characters that largely, just like Star Wars sequel shit, no one knows, nobody cares about. This is a merchandising bonanza waiting to happen when they put this show out there, no matter, even if the show bombs, but they can still have toys that look like the characters from the books, they might be okay there. But I don't even know if it'll bomb, because Rowling's involved. This may give you a better, more fleshed out adaptation of her books, because we all know when you've got 300 pages, it's tough to cram that into 2 hours. But you got 10 hours? I think it's like a 50-50. I guess we'd have to look around and check like trendings on like Google and Twitter to see what the interest is to this day to day, and if it only spikes really when there's like a casting announcement, which I don't think there's been any of that, because it's still way early on.
It was just an
they said we're doing that shit. We're monetized.
Yeah, this is what we're going to try to do.
Yeah.
Okay. They don't have scripts yet. They don't have anything yet. It just
cool. So this will be a wait and see. All right, I think that's going to wrap up week 3 of Fantasy Movie Month. I love having the discussion on Harry Potter. We could probably do a series review of this, like an individual one, if we're ever unable to figure out what we wanted to do at some point in the future. I'd happily rewatch any of these, except the last 2. I think they're kind of bummers in the end, but that's just more me not wanting to do that. But King Z, read us out of here, dude. Thanks for coming by for the long one after a long day.
All right. Well, thank you for coming along as we do our 3rd installment of our salute to fantasy. If you did like it, please hit the like button. I know I was a little bit in a different mindset earlier. Please hit the like button if you did enjoy it. It helps us out. It helps in the algorithm. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And also make sure you hit that notification bell, so every time we drop great content like this, you're being notified, so you don't miss out on a second of us talking about stuff we love. With that said, I think it's time to go to bed. So